Alright guys, it's time for some more of the advanced stuff. This deserves its own section, as these things kind of get changed the most. And I think isolating this in a separate video is probably the best way to go about it, so I can, easily update the tech that is available to Raptor. And so far you've been learning the basics of the playable, the PvP, and the growing process. And you should have a decent idea of how the desync works now. If not, I highly recommend you watch the full playlist, as all these things get covered in them. I'm not gonna lie, making this video has me feeling a bit scared, because this is the actual toolkit that we have, and if the devs strip these tricks and unintended mechanics away, then Raptor would truly become horrible to play with, as it has a horribly long bite cooldown and a very high cost for basic things like jumping, etc. And it's these little tricks that make the playable really fun and what kind of adds skill expression to it for people like me. So I truly hope teaching you guys the darker Raptor secrets will not lead to a nerf of these things. And if so, I apologize to those that already knew these things. Since bounce itself, it is a strong mechanic when you're punching down, but otherwise it is unusable due to the majority of the map and terrain being cliffs and trees. Just like the Herreras do not want to punch down and become juvie killers, I also do not want to become a juvie killer, because, everything that's full grown and adult and worth hunting is bigger than a raptor. So to the devs, if you somehow found this video and you're rubbing your hands together with a nerf hammer ready, please consider the weak state that Raptor is actually in before you go through with nerfing any of the following, as you will literally just destroy this player. Bounce is not as oppressive as the bad players in your outcourt feedback section make it out to be. Any competent player will tell you that Raptor is cannon fodder and easily killed. And they are right about that, but let's just get into the bag of tricks. And I'd like to start off with tips first and save the better stuff towards the end of the video. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Tips and tricks. Tip number 1. Stop one calling all the time. This one is pretty basic but very effective. If you stop doing this, you will run into more prey items, and you will get killed way less by things capable of murdering you in cold blood. You're kind of scaring away the prey and additionally attracting predators when you're one calling, so be very cautious with that. Speaking of cautious, also be very cautious with your in-game communications. If you are ambushing something, do not type in chat at all. You will simply ruin an otherwise stealthy assassination by giving your targets a heads up. Sound can be good, however, when used as a diversion or to divert attention away from a specific angle so your friend can ambush, but in general it's a terrible idea to be one-calling all the time. And any decent Raptor player will ignore you entirely if you do so, because you're just too loud for their stealthy playstyle. Alright, tip number 2. When you are drinking, you can hold down shift plus any direction key to run into. And then if a croc pops up, you let go of E and you will catapult away. This will give you the best reaction time possible. It beats letting go of E and then pressing the keys. So the way you want to go about it is just, you're drinking, you hold E, and while you're holding E, you also hold shift and any direction key. Then a croc pops up and then your E button, the release of it becomes, your reflex and you're gone. So that is a really solid way to avoid that. Now we go to tip number 3. If a target is out of stamina and walks into an object while you are pouncing it, do not let go. You have a good chance to remain on top of your target, and you can only be stunned into the fall down animation if your target is running anyway. Meaning that if it's walking, it would only make you detach, and after that you would immediately be able to move. So keep that one in mind, it's really useful and it can be the difference between you disengaging from a fight or you landing a kill. Alright, then we get into tip number 4. If you have the spasms, muscle spasms from eating your own species, cannibalizing without having it on your diet, and you don't want to produce the biting sounds or you're afraid to hit a pack member, hold your scent key. Your raptor will not randomly bite as long as your scent animation is active. Now the scent animation also produces a sound, so keep that in mind, but it's less loud than the bite animation and it's the lesser of the two evils. And then we have tip number 5. Manage your stamina. Do not drop below the 2 toes on the side with it, as that is the 60% marker. Below 60%, you have to Z-walk or crouch to regenerate your stamina. And below 40%, you have to sit down to get it back. So stay above 60, because then you will have no problems traveling the map, and you can just trot your stamina back up. There's also a myth going around that if you stay above 80, that you will regen your stamina faster while trotting as above 60. But this is a myth and we haven't actually confirmed it. But yeah, my tinfoil hat is pretty strong on that one. I do believe it is the case. Alright, now let's get into some Raptor attack and just let's pray that this does not get nerfed. I would feel terrible about that. Because this is a video I really wanted to hold back, I'm not gonna lie. This is something I want to gatekeep because I'm afraid of nerfs. Well, let's try it anyway. Alright, so first, movement. A lot of people have been asking me about this, like, how do you move so smooth? And to be honest, I don't consider it smooth, but if you guys think it is, I guess the least I can do is explain what I'm doing, I guess. Like, my entire movement is based around circling instead of drawing lines. I think most people are just, drawing too much zigzag lines and stuff like that, too much strong input. So all you have to do is water it down. You have to make your input more curvy. Just like a car cannot suddenly go like this and then like this without going into a slip, your Raptor cannot suddenly do this and then go this way. You will usually end up sliding. Actually, I don't know if it's just my muscle memory kicking in, but I am having a hard time sliding. So right now I'm doing very strong input. And even that, it still kind of allows me to pilot it quite nicely. But what I do is I keep circling. And my entire movement is based around quarter circling. With quarter circle, I just literally mean this. Like, I make a circle like this, I make a circle like this, a circle like this, and then I chain it together, and all of it together becomes, movement. So that's my tip for that. And a huge tip I have for preventing a slide, because that's what gets you killed, because those are the animation kills. I mean, those are the momentum kills, right? So what you want to do to prevent that at all costs, you let go of shift, you turn, you press shift. You let go of shift, you turn, you press shift. Let go of shift, you turn, you press shift. You just have to feel it out. And when you kind of let go of shift constantly, you get this really smooth maneuverability. Also, a lot of you guys, what I notice is you guys just hold shift while running around the target and you just keep holding it. This makes your trajectory and velocity predictable. Letting go of shift creates these dips and bumps in your speed, like you speed up, you dip, you speed up, you dip, and every time you dip you can maneuver, and every time you speed up you zip away. Creating this stop-go feeling of movement also will help you dodge things or attack. So often I just go in, nope, and then I go. So yeah, that's what I got on movement for you guys. Like, that's literally it. It's just a bunch of quarter circles and making sure that I don't slide. Okay, so cliff tag. Cliff tag is essentially useful to prevent this situation where you pound something that is on a rock, crazy terrain. You pounce it, it goes to the side of the cliff. Then when you dismount, you are, as you can see, that will not end well. So instead, this is what you can do. There's a trick. Credits to Kesa for this. He's the one who found it. Where you can dismount in the spot where you're pouncing instead of flying off, right? I'll show how it works. Get on. Now, he's gonna put me next to the cliff, and instead of doing the normal thing, you just look to the sky, like this, and backwards. Then you dismount, and voila, you did not fly away. I'll show it again. So, basically, you get on, you look behind you, yeah? Make sure you look behind you over your own shoulder. You look to the sky, like this, and then you dismount. That is how you use it. Now, if you do this wrong and even slightly look down like this, you will still die. So be very, very aware of that, alright? Let's get into something nice. Next thing I got for you guys is slide alting. Slide alting is basically usage of the alt bite in combat. Like, as you guys know, when you press alt bite while you're running, it doesn't really happen. But there's something nice about sliding. And that is that you can alt bite in your slide. So you can literally just shoot it. And the way I advise you to use this, kind of to have a reliable result, is that you just press your S key. Pressing the S key while sprinting is the best way to slide. Like, you can also achieve it while going to the side. Sometimes, you know, you get these curves instead of the slide, and then it does work, but it's slower. While when you force a sliding, it just goes way better. So usually what I do is, let's say this guy, dodge an attack, slide, go right through him. This one is actually really difficult to actually apply in combat without getting hit yourself. It's gonna take you some practice, but I challenge you to try it. Just challenge yourself in learning this, because it's super useful. See, when you're baiting, you stop, you go, and then you bite. But with the slide, you stop, you bite. It's faster. So with that speed advantage, it's definitely a good thing to have in your toolkit. Now, the next thing I got for you guys is the alt pounce. Another, usage of the alt bite. See, the pounce only works when you're looking to your side and to the front. You can pounce this way, you can pounce that way, but you cannot pounce backwards. At least you can, but I'll teach you that in a second. I'm pressing the button. Nothing is really happening. However, let's say you make a maneuver on something, you dodge. You could alt bite or follow up with a pounce. Let me find somebody to try it on. Create these slidings to make sure you don't hit. Pounce. That's how you do it. So the way this would work. Sorry, Elsa. I just needed to show that for a second. But the way you can do this is you alt bite and you press your pounce right after. Some people have some difficulties with getting it to activate. If that is the case for you, then I advise you to spam the pounce while you're alt biting. So you alt bite and then you spam. And this is how it looks like without a target. There's another one. It's called the drop kick pounce. Basically, you can come in like this, kick, and immediately pounce. Same application, just a difference. Thank you. And yeah, basically that is the alt bounce and the drop kick bounce. Like, those are Two things you can do together. Now, there's a wombo combo you can do. And I usually do it on the sitting target. Now, first I have to show you guys what the alt bounce does to the front of a target. Right? Let me find a stationary target. Actually, you know what? I got an old clip. I'm just gonna show you guys the old clip where I combine the dropkick bounce with the alt bounce, and then also combine it with the wombo combo that a Raptor can do. This is basically burst damage. Alright, I was gonna use the older clip. However, it has a problem. There's some copyrighted music in there, and I don't want to deal with that. So, instead, I'm gonna just ask Elsa very nicely. I'll show you guys how you do this. I'll show both variations. There's a variety of it that I love using. However, there's another way to do this. I think this means yes, since she's standing still. So basically you come in, you jump, face bounce, hot right, bounce, and then bam. You can proceed to bounce however you want. So basically what is happening is the bounce in the face bounces you off, which is bad when you're trying to punch your target. But in this instance, it is exactly what we want. We're taking full advantage of this. So basically we are off-right and then bouncing. Off-right, bounce. But you can chain this really fast. And it does quite a bit of damage too. So it is really nice to use. And the best way I use it is... Oh, okay. Let's try that again. The best way I use it is by using it. Drop kick, bounce, alt-right, bounce, alt-right, bounce. Damage bounce. That's kind of my favorite application of it. And yeah, you can see why I'm afraid of nerves here. It's really strong. Alright, so the next thing I got for you guys is basically trampoline tag. It's not really as much as a tag as just making use of the dropkick. See, when people are attacking, they have attack cooldowns, and on certain playables, you can kind of just jump right over their center. The idea is that you keep playing with that. You trample that. Now, some playables, it's really dangerous to use this on. For example, if he had kicked, I would have been somewhere in the orbit, like, you know, that would have hurt. But on Sarahs and stuff that don't have rear attacks, it's pretty nice because they're gonna try to do an alt bite backwards, but you're jumping over their collision points. And that is with the help of some good timing. But yeah, you guys get the idea. Just trampolining. Just keep jumping, keep kicking. And every time you're in the air, that's when you want your opponent to be attacking. During their moment of attack, you have to be in the air, and during the intervals, you want to be landing with the kick, and then you want to chain that. This works on people who spam their attacks and who are not thinking and panicking. This is actually a really dangerous move, and yeah, use this one with caution. Then I got something that I was talking about earlier, the backwards bounce. And it's not really visible because of the updates coming in way too late. Yeah, that. See, that's the backwards bounce. On your screen, it looks like he just bounces backwards. But I'll show you guys how it looks on my end, without the desync and lag. Basically, you run, you just send it backwards. I'm gonna slow it down so you guys can see the input. You run, you crouch, you turn, you bounce. But speeding it up, it will look like that. Also, while we're on it, crouch bounce. Something I actually forgot to mention, and I think I'm going to include it right here, right now. Alright, you just bounce normal, and when you land, don't move, you just freeze. Okay, so now I'm gonna do it with crouch. Show the difference. There's more reach. See? When you crouch bounce, you go further. Yeah, now you do the crouch, and I do the normal. Let me go first. Wait, let me make sure I'm standing next to you. So I'm gonna pass, and I won't move, and now you do the crouch one. See? Goes further. So with crouch bouncing, you can go way further than with normal bouncing. Alright guys, that for now is all the tips and tricks I have for you. Now, if new tech gets discovered in the future, I'll make sure to update this video. If something gets nerfed, let's pray it won't, I'll also update this video in the future. And we're finally going to get into some of the good stuff now, since I feel that everything has been covered, every base has been touched. So now, what we want to do is teach you guys the matchups. And in the next video, we're going to be touching on our first matchup. Matchup guides are on the way. I might drop them all at once, I might drop them one at a time. We will have to see about that. Where we dive into detail on the matchups where you can see how an Omniraptor is supposed to approach a fight against a certain playable, and what tactics work, what is very effective, what is horrible to do, things you shouldn't do. Like, we'll cover everything. And yeah, basically I'm gonna see you in the next one. Like and subscribe if this was useful to you. Check out the rest of the guide. If this is the first video you're watching, I highly recommend it, because there's a lot of stuff in there. Cheers.